how do you reconcile the two? You who do not like budgeting and the fact that it's a must do. We are relying so much on willpower when willpower is not our strongest suit. If you're the type who tends to overspend up front, the last thing I want to do is count money and add carry one minus one. What can we do to release 120? And so traditional budgeting will also not work for you. The good thing with financial hardship is this works for those of you who, rice and beans, no matter how you split it, season it, it's still rice and beans. You want to feel like you're doing right with your money. 10% for savings based on your income. Yeah, that's more than enough. Technically, you are calling the shots, kind of. And we know ourselves to ourselves be true, right? I use credit card, not debit. Calm down. It's easy to say budget every single month, but what if you're the type that doesn't like budgeting? You weren't born yesterday. So chances are you've tried budgeting several times and it hasn't worked out. But you also know the only way you can effectively manage your money is to have some sort of budget. So how do you reconcile the two? You who do not like budgeting and the fact that it's a must do if you're to have better control of your finances. Perhaps the reason why is you've been trying to force yourself to fit into a certain budget rather than doing it the other way around, which will make you more successful, which is finding a plan that actually works for you the way you are. It's a lot easier to stick to something that works with your flow than to go against the flow. For instance, if you're the type who hates the idea of tracking every single expense, of micromanaging your money and making sure you know where every dollar goes and how to spend every single dollar, then a better plan for you is to automate your goal and then freely spend everything else. It's called the no budget or the anti-budget budget. So what you do is whatever plan you have, be it to pay down debt, to save, or both, whatever plan you have, set that amount every month to be saved or to be put away or to go towards the debt, just like you do your bill. You don't need anyone to hold your hand to pay your rent or to pay your light bill. It has to be done, right? So you do the same with whatever your goal is. And then whatever is left in the account, you can really spend anyhow. You don't have to track the spending. You don't have to figure out if you spent the $50 you set for I don't know, shopping, and then the 500 you set for groceries. You don't have to do all that. All you know is what you have left in the account is what you have left to use. However way you spent, none of your business, and you're not doing that work. I love this idea because there's certain times throughout the year I float around. There are seasons in life where this is what I'm doing because I have other things to spend time doing. If you're the type who tends to overspend up front, this 800 was supposed to be for the month. Why the heck is it out at the beginning of the month? Well, for you, your problem isn't allocation. Your problem is spendication. So what would work best for you is to split up your money into 4 weeks. And you were spending weekly rather than monthly. A month is too long for you. Your hand goes a lot faster than the month. So you are going to break it down, especially if you pay it bi-weekly, even better. I've done this. So you pay your monthly bills, the monthly bills, student loan, car payment, that is set, is what it is. Your problem is more so for the extracurriculars and the other things, the groceries, the money you've set aside for debt. You've eaten into the groceries the first 2 weeks, so now you have to eat into your debt money, debt pay down money, or your saving money. Take your income, your bi-weekly paycheck, or if you're paid monthly, and you are going to budget with your weekly income. A week goes a lot faster than a month, right? So if you know you have groceries, you set out groceries 800 every month. Well, by the week, going by 4 weeks, we know there are 2 months a year where it's 5 weeks. You deal with that. But you divide up that 800 by 4, which gives you what? 200. I'm doing math as I'm talking. 8 divided by 4, 200. All right. So, each week you're only spending $200. $200 is your number. Same thing with your discretionary spending on fun, on shopping. $100 every month is what I have to play with. Well, rather than going $100 every month, we are going to break it down to weekly, divided by 4. $25. So my fun money is $25 for 7 days. Your brain and your hand i.e., your Swipation hand, can better work with $25. It's a lot easier for you to control your spending when you know it's only for 7 days, honey. Hold on. Day 8th is coming, and then we have $25 again. Now, I can't help you if you spend all $25 on day one, but you're more likely to hold on because it's a lot easier to wait 6 days for 8th day to come around than to wait 30 days for the next day one. You may be at a point in life right now where you don't want to think about money for whatever reason, but at the same time, you do have goals, financial goals you want to hit. You just don't want to go through all that mental gymnastics of minus one plus one. Heck, you don't even want to think about money, but you want to have your cake and eat it too. You want to still achieve your goal. Right? I got you. I understand this things because there was a time, especially after I had kids, when I was dealing with two kids, two toddlers, I didn't want to think about money. I also didn't want to be reckless with money. I also knew there were things I wanted to get done. So I understand. What would probably work best for you is what is considered goal-oriented budgeting, where the only thing you're doing is adjusting your spending and all just for your goal. Everything else stays the same. So for instance, if my plan is to pay off my car loan and my car loan has a balance of, let's just 20,000, right? Say I can't pay off 20,000 this year, but I do want to make a good dent. So let's say by the end of the year, I would like to knock it off by what, 10K, right? Every month, I know I'm going to have to pay down what, do the math, I gotta do the math, a little over 100 or less than 100 every month. My focus is going to be taking a look at my spending. How can I ensure that I can shell out 120 every single month, 110 every single month? And that's it. I am not taking time, or I'm not spending time trying to come up with the most efficient way to use my income or most efficient way to spend. My only focus right now is what can we do to release 120, to ensure we're releasing 120 every single month for to go towards this debt, and that's it. So goal-oriented budgeting is simply, I guess you can say, is doing the list in a way. You would just focus on adjusting your spending and your income to hit that goal, and that's it. It may not be the most efficient way for you to use your money, but when we're in that season of life, perhaps last year was just taxing. Perhaps you went really hard financially last year and you really cut back every single thing. That's when it usually happens, when you spend a lot of time really micromanaging your money. Not that it's bad. Sometimes that's what you need to do for certain goals. And then you get into the season right after that where you're like, the last thing I want to do is count money and add carry one minus one, right? But if you're the opposite, where you are going through financial hardship, so you need to really manage your money better, or you have a major debt you're paying down, you have a lot to pay down, your balance is high, or you have a massive goal to save towards, so to put money towards. Perhaps you're about to buy a car, about to do down payment on a house, so we're talking you have either a hardship or a significant amount you have to save for. So you need to manage money really well, but you're also not the type that like to think about money. You don't like this idea of, all right, well, what's going here, what's going there. All right, I need to do 50% for needs, 30% for wants, 20%. You don't like having to do all that math and having to do all that thinking. You just want a streamlined way to go about money. Live it and forget it, set it and forget it kind of thing, but make sure you're tackling this major goal that you have. Then what would work best for you, rather than the traditional budgeting, would be bare bones budget, where you will only spend it on your essentials. I think we all know what essentials are, just in case. Essentials would be what you need to pay to survive, what you need to pay to keep the roof over your head, and to keep the lights on and to eat, to survive, and that's it. Anything that isn't an essential is a no. Anything that isn't, should we go out to eat? No. Should we buy groceries? Yes. Should we stop for coffee? No. Should we get our car fixed? Yes, it's an essential. Should we go to the doctor? Yes. I think we all know what an essential is, right? So what this does is it keeps you from having to do the mental gymnastics and all that thinking around money because it's a straightforward mindset. Yes or no, essential or not, that's it, right? And that way, a chunk of your money is going towards that goal without you having to do so much thinking. Now, is it difficult? Yes, it is because you're denying all the what we consider fun or what we consider the luxury. But this is why this is for those who are going through financial hardship. First of all, one, this isn't the season for luxury, right? So you understand this isn't a forever thing. This is for the short period of time to take care of that hardship, give some wiggle room. Or, we have a goal to save for this down payment of the house or to buy a car. We're grown-ups. We can handle a few months of holding back. This isn't, I would never encourage this for long term. This is what we all know of when we think of Dave Ramsey, his repayment plan, where he says you on rice and beans, beans and rice, and that's it. It's not going to work for everyone. That's a fact. But the good thing with financial hardship is it does force you to do what you thought you would never be able to do because you have a more pressing need than fun or than eating steak. The rice and beans now tastes good. Like I said, I think it works short term. If your goal or your debt repayment is going to be 5 years, I don't see how you're going to do rice and beans for 5 years. But we all have different strength, right? So I used this when I was paying down my debt because, like I said, I had that debt was more present to me than buying anything. And it works. This works for those of you who hate thinking about money, but you also want to hit that goal. So it makes it easy, straightforward. Essential? No, then we're not spending, period. And after a couple weeks, it's actually super easy. Super easy. Super easy in the sense that you get so used to not spending, it's not even a big deal anymore. And you enjoy seeing you hit your goal and you enjoy seeing the debt go down. That's how I enjoyed it. If you need a little bit more guidance with your finances, you want to feel like you're doing right with your money, but you also don't want strict rules about how to go about it, having to line up your expenses and or you just want to know how much would be the right amount to spend on XYZ. Then for you, what is probably better than the traditional budgeting style would be the percentage-based budgeting, where you personalize it to your income, where you set percentages for different categories, broad categories. So you would go, all right, 70% of my income will go towards my essentials, i.e., my rent, my utilities, my payments, while 20% will go towards my savings and 10% will be for fun. For vacation, you could either set your own parameters or your own percentages or follow other traditional percentages we've heard of, like the 50-30-20 rule, where 50% goes towards your needs, 30% will go towards what your savings or debt repayment, and 20% will go towards your wants. It's up to you. This comes in handy because your everyone's income varies, right? And of course, this only works if your income supersedes your expenses. I hope we all get that part, which is what the downside to 50-30 is. Not all of us can hit that because we can't really configure our expenses. So if you make a significant amount of money where your expenses are not, it's not close to your income, then this is a good way based on your income to figure out what you would be happy with. So if I made, let's just say, if I make 10,000 every month net, right? And I'm looking at, do I really want only 10% to go towards savings out of 10,000? That does not seem right, right? Even if I don't have a specific figure that I would like to hit at the end of the year for my savings, I just feel like 10,000 every month and all I'm saving is 1,000. What the heck am I using the other 90,000 for? See, when you go percentage wise, I think it relates a lot more to the big picture of what your income is. While for someone else, 10% for savings based on their income, yeah, that's more than enough because based on my income, my expenses is pretty much 90%. I'm exaggerating and all, but you get the point. So when you take a look at your income, you're the type that, you know, I like to feel free, do with my money as I want, but I also want to make sure I'm doing right by my money and I'm being efficient with it. Right now, my expenses are at 60%. My goal is to whittle it down to 50%. And so you work towards what you can cut off, right? So The percentage based budgeting is really just to make you feel like you're calling the shots, even though that's what we're all doing with our budget. But it will make you feel much more like that because that's just how you are. That's your personality. For some of us, if we're being honest with ourselves, the reason why the traditional budget hasn't worked is because we are relying so much on willpower when willpower is not our strongest suit, right? Some of us have no way of controlling our spending. We're not good at controlling our spending and sticking to what we said we would do. So regardless of what budgeting style we use, we still can't stick to the rules we have set before. So for you, what you need is either how it's done traditionally or a more modern way, which I'll discuss, is the envelope system. uh, for some of you, cash is the only way, right? I hate using cash, but for some of you, cash is the only way you can control your spending. And so the envelope system is a system where I would think we've all heard of it by now. It's a system where you cash out the money you need and you split it into envelopes. When you see that money leaving, you'll be a lot more successful at maintaining the max you said you wanted to spend. And also when you see that money leaving, you're better at connecting the fact that you're overspending or you've been spending, right? If you get out of the house, one stop you spend, the next stop you spend, the next stop, I can guarantee you would not be spending because when you've done two stops and money has gone out, the next stop, chances are money is not going to go out. But with a card, if this is an issue for you, with a card, it's going to be a lot easier to swipe, and the third stop you swiping again, right? So cash would be the way to go. One way to combat that for me would be weekly. You're only cashing out the money you need for the week. So if you lose that money, you've only lost the money for the week, right? You're not losing the money for the entire month. Another way to do it is to go electronically. Now, this is what I would do. This is the part that works for me. Having different accounts, right? So you have one account for food, one account for your bills, and one account for anything else. I don't know, your life, car loan, whatever it is, to go even a step further, because using credit card is a no-no for you, right? No judgment. I'm just saying we know ourselves to ourselves be true, right? I wouldn't use credit card. I would be using debit card. So you use the debit card for the gas. You have different colored debit cards. I don't know, back in the day, you could decorate your own debit card. I don't know if you can still do that now. If this is bad, it may be worth paying the fee to have a different, to decorate your own debit card. And so in your wallet, this is a debit card for gas. Or you can even do prepaid card. I always do my groceries at Walmart. Something I would do then is every week. I really love the idea of every week or every 2 weeks rather than monthly. I would transfer a certain amount for groceries, and that's all I have. The benefit of this, having different accounts using debit cards, really, or prepaid cards, is it's like an electronic cash system where you've already put the boundaries for spending where you can't overspend. So if I'm using a prepaid card for groceries and I've put in $100 for the week, I better use only $100. And then what you could also do is when you're going grocery shopping, leave the other cards at home. So you're not tempted to, well, too bad, I overspent. Now the grocery is up to 150. Well, too bad. Let's use the other card. Don't do that. Leave that at home. Now you were forced to use only $100, right? And even in general, you have a different account for your bills. You have a different account for everything else. So the only cards you should have on you would be your card for discretionary spending and groceries. That's it. And that way you're not dipping into your other accounts, because if this is an issue for you, you slick. You know how to, you'll find ways to spend everywhere else. So your job is to find ways to keep yourself from using all the other accounts, and that's by sticking to just those two cards when you leave the house. Part of the reason why a traditional budget hasn't worked for you in terms of managing your income is because you're being so rigid with it and you're thinking you have to do things a certain way. What has probably happened so far is, as you've listened to these different styles of budgeting, you've realized, you know what, actually I like this idea and that idea. And that's the thing, you can use a hybrid of either one of these styles to figure out your spending plan or to manage your money better. Nothing says you have to stick to one rule. In fact, you can try it out one way for 1 month, and the next month try it the other way. It works better when you can find things that work with your life as is, where you only have to do a little change. You definitely have to adjust, period. I mean, there's no way to manage your money without adjusting. Left to me, I would spend, spend, spend if I could. So I have to adjust and not spend, spend, spend. So if you're expecting no adjustment whatsoever, I can tell you right now, it's not going to work. But you're a lot more, you have a better chance of being successful if you find one that works with the least amount of adjustment possible. Right? Let me know if you have a tough time sticking to your spending plan, which is the other name for budgeting. I prefer the word spending plan. I don't know why I kept saying budget throughout the video. I prefer spending plan. Let me know if you have a tough time sticking to yours, and if you think any of these styles will help you do better at that. For me right now, because we have all these expenses coming up, so it's not going to be easy tracking every single thing, i.e., pre-planning this. Well, it's not going to be easy to, micromanage every expenses because there's a lot on the table. So for me, we're doing a hybrid. We're doing the no budget, anti-budget, which is naturally what I lean towards. Allocate money for my essentials and my goals, and then the others, I'm not keeping track of it or accounting for it because I've already pre-arranged that money is money I can afford not to think about. That's my preferred way of doing things. But the hybrid comes around with, um, I'm going to also be doing the envelope system, but the electronic envelope system for my discretionary, my groceries. So I use credit card, not debit, right? And I have a separate one for groceries. So I never have to go through and start having to check, what did I spend it on? But I know this card is for groceries and groceries alone. Groceries and anything else I'm buying at Walmart that has to do with like the house, except, like the kids' clothes. And I'm talking food, cleaning supplies. What else? What else? That's pretty much it, right? So I have a separate card for that, and then we have a separate card for the essentials, the bills and the, if we have to buy clothes for the house, for the kids, or you know what I mean, essentials. So that's my hybrid. Now, I think I really, really like the idea of the prepaid. And if I didn't have the separate credit card for groceries, I would use the prepaid. I'm good at not overspending, so we're not yet there where I'm going to make myself use the prepaid. But if it gets there, if that card keeps going high, then that is something I would definitely do. Is prepaid grocery card. But I'm good at really sticking to trying to buy the groceries we need. I'm not perfect, trust me. I'm not. This month I've been on my, and I'm doing good this month. I'm really, really watching the groceries. I'll do a different video on what has been working. That under consumption, boy, and making the kids eat what I make. Huge, and controlling how much snacks. Let's not even blame it all on the kids. Even love it. When I go to the store, calm down. It looks good. Calm down. Yes, you will try it a different time. Calm down. So, thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye.